Washington, D.C., August 20th, 2025. A tense political scene unfolded at Union Station as U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, and White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller visited National Guard troops deployed in the Capitol. The visit, aimed at boosting morale among soldiers, came against a backdrop of protests, with demonstrators chanting "Free D.C." as officials arrived. The deployment of National Guard troops was ordered by President Donald Trump earlier this month, part of an emergency order intended to restore public safety. While officials praised the operation's results, critics have condemned the move as a federal overreach that undermines Washington's autonomy. The images of top officials shaking hands with troops while protesters shouted nearby highlighted the sharp divisions running through the nation's capital. Vice President Vance, addressing the troops, pointed to sharp drops in crime since the Guard's deployment. If you look at what's happened in Washington, D.C. in just the past 9 days, we've seen a 35% reduction in violent crime. We've seen over a 50% reduction in robberies. In response to questions about Congress and the timeline for the order, Vance insisted that President Trump would ultimately decide the next steps. We'll let the president determine where we are after 30 days of this emergency order. If he thinks he has to extend it to ensure public safety, then that's exactly what he'll do. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth followed, defending the Guard's role and linking it to broader missions across the country. The National Guard is proud to be standing with the president, ensuring a safe capital. We're committed to this mission just like we are on the southern border and in Los Angeles. Then Stephen Miller delivered one of the day's most controversial remarks, directly targeting the demonstrators outside Union Station. The voices you hear out there, those crazy communists, they have no roots in this city. They have no families here, no jobs here. They've been advocating for the 1%, the criminals, the killers, the rapists, the drug dealers, and I'm glad they're here. The remarks underscored how the visit was not just about military morale, but about political messaging. For the administration, the Guard deployment has become both a symbol of security and a point of defiance against critics. Protesters, meanwhile, argue that the operation strips residents of their rights and turns the Capitol into a militarized zone. The clash between chants on the street and speeches inside Union Station reflected that struggle in real time. As the officials departed, the divide between celebration and protest remained clear. Supporters pointed to crime statistics as evidence of success, while opponents warned of dangerous precedent in placing Washington's policing directly under presidential control. Whether the order ends in 30 days or is extended, August 20th captured the stakes of Trump's Washington security experiment, a capital city caught between protection and protest. U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, and White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller arrived at Union Station for a meet and greet with National Guard troops. They were seen greeting soldiers, shaking hands, and taking photos, while protesters outside shouted "Free D.C." The officials spoke directly to the troops, acknowledging their role in maintaining order under President Donald Trump's emergency order. Vice President J.D. Vance highlighted the results of the deployment, saying, "If you look at what's happened in Washington, D.C. in just the past 9 days, we've seen a 35% reduction in violent crime. We've seen over a 50% reduction in robberies." When asked about congressional approval, Vance responded, "Well, look, we'll ultimately let the President of the United States determine where we are after 30 days of this emergency order."
Safe. If you look at what's happened in Washington, D.C. in just the past 9 days, we've seen a 35% reduction in violent crime. We've seen over a 50% reduction in robberies. We are seeing really...
Do you think you have congressional... Will Congress go along with it?
Well, look, we'll ultimately let the President of the United States determine where we are after 30 days of this emergency order. I think that we're going to make a lot of progress over the next 20 days. I think that we're 9 days into this thing. But if the President of the United States thinks that he has to extend this order to ensure that people have access to public safety, then that's exactly what he'll do. If he thinks he doesn't have...
National Guard, the Defense Department is proud to be standing with you on the President and ensuring we have a safe capital that is beautiful, that residents can come visit. We're committed to this mission just like the one at the southern border and in Los Angeles. Our law enforcement officers...
1% of the city. And the voices that you hear out there, those crazy communists, they have no roots, they have no connections to the city, they have no families they're raising in this city, they have no one that they're sending to school in this city, they have no jobs in this city, they have no connections to this community at all. But they're the ones who've been advocating for the 1%, the criminals, the killers, the rapists, the drug dealers. And I'm glad they're here.